not me having trouble connecting to Facebook. Facebook right now is saying that our event is over. I don't know if someone can. Yeah, we're fine. Your live video has ended. Why did it just end?
May I? Will somebody be standing here? May I put this here so I can come
Okay.
get it when it's time? Thank you.
All right.
It's your space after all.
Whoever, someone hit enable the checkbox to end live video
Kudos to
stream
you.
stops.
Great meeting.
Which meant if there was a hiccup, suddenly the event terminated. That's not okay. You can't have that checkbox. There's no way to fix it now. We have to recreate the event, and we can't really do that right now. Yes.
Back in the day.
Yeah, go ahead. Hold on. The mics are muted. Hold on.
Test. Ooh.
Everything's on. Hold on.
Testing lectern, testing lectern, testing lectern, testing lectern. But should I do, which one should I use? Testing, 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 testing. Okay. Oh, so I'm muting this. Okay. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing. Can everyone hear me? Good. Well, today is one of my favorite days at the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, where we get to gather for a shorter service but stay together for an animal blessing. So I will just share very brief announcements because I know that our dogs can get restless sometimes. But let us open together by affirming, it is good to be. It is good to be here. It is so good to be here together, especially with the whole entire family. So I do have a couple of announcements. First, I want to let people know that we are participating later today at the Morristown Festival on the Green. There are lots of children's activities and booths, including booths for community organizations. And we have a booth right there on the Green. So come by anytime between 12 and 5 p.m. today and say hello. Say hello. Second, I want to let people know that yesterday, members in our congregation and people all across the state of New Jersey and all across the country marched in the wake of the laws in Texas restricting reproductive freedom. And I encourage you to find out more about the Reproductive Freedom Act that is coming before the New Jersey State Legislature. And I'll be sending some more information about how you can reach out to your legislators to let them know your feelings on that topic. And in the pastoral update I sent this morning, if you want, you can actually watch the words I shared in front of the Morristown Hall yesterday, which are on our YouTube channel. Third, our offering today will be split 50-50 between the fellowship and Wind of the Spirit, one of our partner organizations, an immigrant resource, justice, and advocacy group that makes a huge difference in the lives of immigrants and actually in all of our lives right here in Morris County, and their effects ripple out well beyond. So please be generous, and you can give by text, you can give by check, and you can also give online, and I'm speaking to those here, and to folks who are with us online this morning. It's good to be with you as well. Making sure I haven't forgotten anything. Fourth, I want you to know that our service auction is coming up, and they are beginning to collect events and items that you might want to offer to the service auction. Are any of the service auction organizers here? Donna Perch, right there in the back. She would love if you have ideas or are curious what kinds of offerings can be included in that event. And it's a lot of fun. And this year we have some family activities planned as well. And definitely check out the information in the October newsletter, also in the pastoral update this morning and sent out on Friday, or go directly to the source right there, Donna Perch, following the service. That is our final announcement this morning. Welcome to one and all. We are glad you are here. Our invocation is by Ian Riddell, The Calling of the Creatures. Who here likes animals? Who here has an animal at home? And who here and there has a great love for all the animals around the world, in the forests and the seas and the mountains and all over? Everyone. Good. So let us call in the spirits of our friends. Come hoof and trunk and tail and horn and paw and wing and claw. Come bird and reptile, mammal born, all full of nature's law. Bring bark and crow and ribbit too, and silent stare and hiss. Bring purr and trill and warble too, and voice no ear can miss. We gather here, each life and all, to celebrate, and oh, shall we sing, to honor creatures large and small. 'Tis holiness we bring. Welcome to all the creatures here today. And now I'd like to invite Marjorie Wormser to come forward to share with us. She's been a teacher in our art religious education program. If you'd like to volunteer to be a teacher this year, we would love to have a couple more substitutes, and it's a lot of fun. And she's going to lead us in one of the chalice lightings we share together, which has some movements, and the words and movements are in your order of service as well. So Marjorie, who is a lifelong Unitarian Universalist, was a Unitarian at the age of all the children here. So maybe one day you'll grow up and be a worship associate too. Or you could do it now. We welcome children to be worship associates. Let us all rise in body or in spirit and say together and move together as we light our chalice.
We light this chalice because we are Unitarian Universalists. We are the fellowship of the open mind, the loving heart, the helping hands. And together we bring peace and justice to the world. Thank you.
And let us sing together. You can stay up or sit, whatever you prefer. Our opening song.
I'm going to invite you to the two songs we're singing.
The two songs we're singing today have a lot of words in them, so I invite you to sing anything you like. That means la-la, doo-doo, humming, anything you want. And the great thing about this is that you're going to have a mask on while you sing, so no one will know if you're singing the words or not. And the other great thing is that the choir is planted throughout you, and they know the songs. They bark and meow, they run and they sleep, they scamper and jump and they lie on the couch. They nicker and neigh, they slither and creep, they bounce and they scurry, they crawl and they crunch. The creatures we love are a sacred delight, with eyes that are bright and with tongues that are rough. They brighten our days and they wake us at night. Our praises we sing for the creatures we love. With fins and with fangs, they feathers and fur. They rest in their cages and swim in their tanks. Each squeak and each squawk, each judder and purr joins in with creation in offering thanks. The creatures we love bring us wonder and joy. They help us get through when the going is rough. They open our hearts even when they annoy. Our praises we sing for the creatures we love. They leap from the chair, they prowl in the woods. They knead and they cuddle, they snuggle and sigh. The essence of proof, creation is good, a blessing we cherish for all of our lives. The creatures we love are an instant of grace. The tiny, the giant, each one is enough, a part of the ultimate holy embrace. Our praises we sing for the creatures we love. Our praises we sing for the creatures we love. It's a good one, right?
Very cool. All right. I have a story for you all called The Creation of Pets. And it attempts to answer this question, where do pets come from? So it goes like this. And a newly discovered chapter of the book of Genesis has provided that answer, where do pets come from? It goes like this. Adam and Eve said, Lord, where we were in the garden and you walked with us every day. And now we do not see you anymore. And we are lonesome here, and it is difficult for us to remember how much you love us. And God said, no problem. I will create a companion for you that will be with you forever, and who will be a reflection of my love for you, so that you shall love me even when you cannot see me. Regardless of how selfish or childish or unlovable you may be, this new companion will accept you as you are and will love you as I do, in spite of yourselves. And God created this new animal, and it was a good animal. And God was pleased, and the new animal was pleased to be with Adam and Eve, and he wagged his tail. And Adam said, Lord, I have already named all of the animals in the kingdom, and I cannot think of a name for this new animal. And God said, that's no problem, because I have created a new animal to be a reflection of my own name, and so you shall call him Dog. And Dog lived with Adam and Eve and as the companion to them and loved them, and they were comforted, and God was pleased, and the dog was content and wagged his tail. And after a while it came to pass that an angel came to the Lord and said, God, Adam and Eve have become filled with pride. They strut and preen like peacocks, and they believe that they are worthy of adoration. Dog has indeed taught them that they are loved, but perhaps too well. And God said, that's no problem. I'll create for them a companion who will be with them forever and who will see them as they are. And this companion will remind them of their limitations so that they will know that they are not always worthy of adoration. And God created cat to be a companion for Adam and Eve. And the cat would not obey them, and when Adam and Eve gazed into the cat's eyes, they were reminded that they were not the supreme beings. And Adam and Eve learned humility, and they were greatly improved. And God was pleased, and dog was happy, and cat didn't care either way.
It is the time in our service where we honor the milestones that have happened in the lives of our fellow congregants since we last met. And people can fill out milestones cards. You can email me, preferably by Saturday, or even text me your milestones. And today, we have a milestone from Bob Calafiore, a milestone of loss. His older brother, Alfred Calafiore, passed away yesterday. Bob shares that Alfred was his best friend and that he always looked up to him. Alfred was a father, a husband, and a grandfather, and he will be sorely missed. Let us all hold Bob Calafiore in our hearts and the entire family. May they be held and comforted in this season of loss, and may they find joy and hope in the stories about Alfred and the difference he made in their lives. May it be so. And will you continue with me in a spirit of reflective meditation and prayer? Spirit of life, we are deeply grateful for all the creatures in our lives, for our siblings in the human family, for those who teach us the ways of compassion and mercy, justice and love, lifelong learning and joy. We are grateful too for the winged ones and the furry ones and the scaly ones, those who live in our homes with us, and those who fill the natural spaces of the world. In the midst of this pandemic, we say a special prayer for all the furry coworkers at home that have helped us make it through Zoom meetings and occasionally made an appearance to lighten a long meeting. We say a special prayer for all those who are therapy animals and who gladden the hearts of those in assisted living and in hospitals everywhere. And we say a special prayer for those whose lives are at risk of extinction. Today, we will examine the ways that we might make a difference. May ours be the hands and feet who march towards causes of the well-being of all creatures. And finally, we hold all the marchers who moved forward around the world, especially here in the United States yesterday, to rise up for the rights of women LGBTQ identified folks and youth for their reproductive freedoms. All these things and so many more are our prayers, our aspirations, our meditations. May it be so. And now it is the time in our service for our offering. Again, 50% goes to the Morristown UU Fellowship and 50% goes to support Wind of the Spirit. And we will get an offering of music from Stearns Matthews, an improvisation, and Marjorie will be moving through the crowd for those who are giving cash or checks this morning, and you can also pull out your phones and give by text. Fun. So now I'm going to ask a specific question before I share the story I want you to hear this morning, which is, how many of you, like me, have had a dog? How many of you, like me, have had a cat? This could be like calisthenics. How many of you, like me, have had a snake? How many of you, like me, have had a hedgehog? How many, like you, like me, have had an opossum? How many, like me, have had a guinea pig? A tarantula. Teddy bear hamsters. Parrot. A nightingale, a cockatiel, finch. A canary. So anyway, I think you've just learned more about your minister that you may have known than you may have known yesterday. Over my lifetime, I have had many creatures, and I will say that my mother was a nurse people would come to our home with broken winged birds for her to splint and nurse back to health. And now I happen to be married to a science teacher that some of you also bring injured animals to heal as well. So we're rehabbing a garter snake right now. So sometimes we welcome animals for a short while and then return them to their habitats. Very important. Did you know that Unitarian Universalists have a saint when it comes to kindness and the treatment of animals in particular? Animal blessings fall on this Sunday because it is literally a saint's day in the Catholic Church, connected to a man named, who knows his name? We talked about him last year. St. Francis, exactly. St. Francis of Assisi. Now, while we UUs don't create saints, we do celebrate the difference that human beings can make in all of our lives. And Henry Berg is the man that I want to tell you about today. He was a member of the UU church where I grew up called All Souls, which got its name from William Ellery Channing's quote, "I am a living member of the great family of all souls." All of us, whether people view us as saintly or whether we have made many mistakes, all of us are part of one human family. And we are all capable of doing good things, even great things that make a difference. Henry Berg was born over 200 years ago in 1813. And at 50 years old, he was appointed an envoy from Abraham Lincoln to the Tsar Alexander II in Russia. Now, while he was overseas, he witnessed a cruelty to animals, especially horses drawing carts, that changed his heart and mind. I forgot to ask, has anyone had horses? I've never had horses. And does anyone love horses? Lots of people. Horses were Henry Berg's favorite animal. And one day he saw a man in Russia whipping a horse to such a degree that he felt compelled to move into that situation and to try to stop it. And he tried to get help from police officers. The police said that the man owned the horse and he had a right to do whatever he wanted. No one else would come to Henry's aid. And in fact, the people right there surrounded him and shook their fists in the air and began to yell names at him. Now, while this was the moment that his conscience was pricked to make a change, it wasn't the only time that he had witnessed cruelty to animals. He remembered the ill treatment of the bulls in bullfights in Spain, and bulldog fights and chicken fights in the United States. And he had also seen horses drawing carts being whipped past exhaustion on the streets of New York. He decided to resign his post in Russia immediately following that incident, and he resolved to go back home and change the laws. It was his mission, as he put it, to work on behalf of these servants of mankind. Berg drafted a Declaration of the Rights of Animals and proposed a society to protect them. On April 10th, 1866, a charter was signed to create the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. I'll say this to the children who are here. When we have Children's Chapel, whenever in the past they've voted what organization to support, you know who they've always decided to support? The American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Because truly, I think animals are our teachers about love. And the following week, he and the others secured the anti-cruelty laws, which gave the ASPCA the power to enforce those laws. At the beginning, the ASPCA's agents were often called Bergsmen. And here's a description of one of the interventions, because I want you to understand it was a very difficult time, as shared by John Gibb Millspaugh about the treatment of these horses. On a New York street corner on April 22nd, 1866, so 1 week about after the laws were passed, Unitarian Henry Berg gathered his courage and approached a cart driver, unmercifully beating his exhausted horse. "My friend," said Henry, "you can't do that anymore." "Can't beat my own horses?" the driver exclaimed. "The devil I can't." And he started again. Berg added, "You may not be aware, but you are breaking the law, and I have a new statute in my pocket, and the horse is yours only to treat kindly." The driver told him to go to hell. "You're mad," he said. Of course, As a Unitarian, he probably didn't believe in hell, but he did believe in kindly treating those animals. And so he arrested that man. Berg and his agents intervened in thousands of cases. The work started with horses, but it quickly included many other species. And not to be gruesome, but dairy farmers, some of them were basically stapling their cows to one spot. Sea turtles who were caught, people would punch holes in their fins and then hang them up for days on the way to market. And I'll just stop there for now. Henry Berg also wanted to see advances in medical care for animals and placement of those animals in homes where their well-being would be a priority. And the ASPCA still carries out this mission in 2021. Now, I want to be mindful to state the limits of Henry's perspective. He wasn't a vegan or even a vegetarian, and he didn't object to animals working. He just wanted to ensure their fair treatment, and he withstood death threats on a regular basis for standing up for these beliefs. And I wonder if the children know this, or the adults. Do you know there was another group of beings that were also considered property all the way up into the 1870s? Can anyone tell me who that was? Yes, that's right. Children were considered property up until the 1870s. In 1874, a 9-year-old girl named Mary Ellen was being repeatedly physically abused by a foster parent who was also forcing her to do hard labor. And I will spare you the images of her mistreatment. The police were reluctant to intervene because the laws were not in place. Can you imagine? Finally, the neighbors called Mr. Berg and told him about the situation. Unafraid to step into the breach and any consequence that he would receive, and very experienced by that point, he successfully had her removed from the situation using a law connected to unlawful detention, since laws about cruelty weren't in place. And he also went on to found the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. At first, newspapers, maybe the New York Post or one like it, published responses like "legislation gone mad" and "leave our children alone." By the time of his death in 1888, Berg had been involved in 12,000 cruelty cases. But the tides did turn, and with a great force. Today, children and animals enjoy clear rights. It's even difficult for us to imagine that it was ever otherwise, even as we know the laws remain in place because they are needed, and harm does come to our fellow human beings as well as animals. And when it does, we must act with courage and compassion as Henry Berg did. In 1879, Scribner's magazine proclaimed, "It may almost be said of Henry Berg that he has invented a new type of goodness, since invention is only the perception and applications of truths that are eternal." And kindness has a true ring to it that is eternal. In our UUA's Tapestry of Faith curriculum by Brotman and Marshfield, we learned this about Henry. When people gathered around him, screaming at him when he made an arrest, he began to preach kindness and love everlasting. And he felt it would be a greater triumph to plant kindness in people's hearts than to build a new railway across America, as some others were doing. Henry was called an angel in a top hat by his admirers, and the great meddler by his detractors and admirers alike. So let us all, on this Animal Blessing Day, tip our hats to this gentleman who showed us that our gentle side can also include a display of great strength. Let us bark for Henry Berg. Let us meow for Henry Berg and quack and clap all of our beings, whatever we have to clap. And let us remember this. We will be remembered for the love we gave away to all the creatures of the earth. And unlike some religious traditions that preach that humankind has dominion over the animals, we here preach that we are stewards of this earth and all her inhabitants. And we must remember our place in the family of things. We are merely a strand in the web. We are not at the top of it. So let us feel those holy connections as we rise and sing together our closing song and then move into blessing our animals.
This is another rather wordy one, so I encourage you once again, put your mask on, sing la, sing do, sing moo, sing woof, sing meow. All are welcome. All God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on a telephone wire. And some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got. Now listen to the top where the little bird sings on the melodies and the high notes ringing and the hoot owl cries and the pony neighs and the blackbird disagrees. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on a telephone wire. And some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got. Dogs and the cats, they take up the middle, and the honeybee hums and the cricket fiddles and the donkey brays and the pony neighs and the old gray badger sighs. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on a telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got. It's a simple song, a little song everywhere, by the ox and the fox and the grizzly bear and Dobie alligator and the hawk above, the sly old weasel and the turtle dove. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on a telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got. Now all God's critters got a place in the choir.
So I'm going to bless in the direction of our cameras over there and also the wide world. May all the creatures and the coworkers and the animal companions who are visiting this morning on the video camera know that they are loved and beloved ones. And may they feel surrounded by that love and that kindness and compassion that goes between them and their human companion. May it be a healing balm in both of their lives. If you are online at 12:30 on Zoom, you'll see the link in the email I sent out today, and it's also posted there on Facebook. You can join us on Zoom at 12:30, and I'll be blessing the animals in our online coffee hour. We're about to bless animals here. We're going to ask you to make two lines, Nick on one side, and I'll be on the other. We're going to do an individual blessing for each of the animals that are here present today. And before we do, let me close with this benediction. From all that dwells below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be done by every hand, paw, and claw. Yes, everyone. Blessed be to those online. See you later. And let the animals come forward to receive their individual blessings.